Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a breaking news report coming out from NATO. We're going to talk about this gentleman on your screen. His name is NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, and once again, he's coming out today speaking at a conference warning that Russia could attack a NATO member within the next 5 years. And Russia is massively increasing their defense spending, producing lots of weapons, and NATO is currently falling behind and needs to catch up. So I want to show you guys this information today. We're going to show you a report and also a clip of him speaking at this conference at the Chatham House, also known as the Royal Institute of International Affairs. This is a British think tank and policy institute based in London. So this is the conference he was speaking at today. So take a look at your screen. NATO chief warns Russia may attack within 5 years. Preparations needed. Rutte outlined the need to make our alliance stronger, fairer, and more lethal in order to meet an increasing range of threats, particularly regarding Russia's capacity to rearm and threaten NATO. So I'm going to show you guys a statement today also from the Secretary General here, Mark Rutte, and he's warning, how much military production, Russia's undergoing right now, all the weapons they're producing, and NATO is producing a very small percentage compared to Russia, and they're not ready for a fight if this war to break out right now. So we also have Rutte today calling on the alliance to increase military spending to 5% of GDP across all nations. So they're trying to counter this threat right now that Russia may attack them in the future. So let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to hop on over here to The Guardian. I'm going to briefly show you guys this report. And then after this, we'll hop on over to X and I'll show you guys a clip of him speaking at this conference today. So it says Russia could be ready to attack NATO within 5 years, says Secretary General. In speech in London, Mark Rutte says he expects alliance members to agree to raise military spending to 5% of GDP. And it says right here, Russia could be ready to attack NATO within 5 years, and leaders of the Western Alliance are expected to agree to increase military spending of 5% of GDP this month to contain the threat, the Alliance Secretary General has said. So I want to say not too long ago, Mark Rutte was calling on the alliance to spend something like 3 or 3.5%, could have been 2.5%. But now he's calling all the way up to 5%, and this shows how real this threat is, and NATO believes they're really falling behind. So he's calling on all nations to reach 5% of GDP for spending. Also says here, Mark Rutte said in a speech in London on Monday that NATO needed a quantum leap in our collective defense, which would include significant rearmament to deter an increasingly militarized Russia. That would include a 5-fold increase in air defense, thousands more tanks, and millions more artillery shells to boost stockpiles and ensure NATO countries match existing levels of Russian production. Speaking at Chatham House after meeting the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, Rutte said, looking ahead to the summit in The Hague this month, I expect allied leaders to agree to spend 5% of GDP on defense. Of that, 3.5% of GDP would be core military spending, okay? So going towards producing these weapons to prepare for war with Russia. And it says here, danger will not disappear even when the war in Ukraine ends. Rutte emphasized, reflecting a belief that the Kremlin will not demilitarize even if it agrees to a ceasefire and eventually to peace with Kiev, okay? So they believe also that even if this war ends, Russia will continue to militarize inside their country and mobilize troops and potentially still be ready to attack a NATO member even if this war comes to an end in Ukraine. It also says here the remarks provoked an immediate response from Moscow. Dmitry Peskov, the Kremlin spokesperson, said that NATO is demonstrating itself as an instrument of aggression and confrontation with the emerging plan. Western military planners believe Russia will seek to retain an active and experienced army of more than 600,000 personnel, as well as maintaining defense spending of about 6.5% of the country's GDP, and be able to threaten NATO's eastern flank in less than half a decade. On his trip to the UK, Rutte visited Sheffield Forgemasters, a nationalized steelmaker owned by the Ministry of Defense that makes complex components for nuclear submarines, before meeting Starmer and then giving his speech. Okay, so there is more information on this article, guys. I will cite it down below if you want to read some more of this, but I just wanted to show you the bulk of the information here, talking about Mark Rutte warning that Russia may attack in the next 5 years, and also on top of that, forcing NATO members to start increasing their defense spending to 5% of GDP. So now we're going to hop in over here. I'm going to show you guys the actual clip of what Mark Rutte is warning about and some of the scary numbers in terms of what Russia is producing and what NATO is not producing. So here's a statement from Anton Gerashenko, and it says NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. Here's the actual transcript from this message that he says here, but I'd rather just show you guys the clip instead of reading it and then showing it to you after. So it's a 2-minute video. Just want you guys to see this. It will have subtitles and it is in English, so pay attention.
Because of Russia, war has returned to Europe. We also face the threat of terrorism and fierce global competition. Russia has teamed up with China, North Korea, and Iran. They are expanding their militaries and their capabilities. Putin's war machine is speeding up, not slowing down. Russia is reconstituting its forces with Chinese technology and producing more weapons faster than we thought. In terms of ammunition, Russia produces in 3 months what the whole of NATO produces in a year. And its defense industrial base is expected to roll out 1,500 tanks, 3,000 armored vehicles, and 200 Iskander missiles this year alone. Russia could be ready to use military force against NATO within 5 years. 5 years. Let's not kid ourselves. We are all on the eastern flank now. The new generation of Russian missiles travel at many times the speed of sound. The distance between European capitals is only a matter of minutes. There is no longer east or west. There is just NATO. China is also modernizing and expanding its military at breakneck speed. It already has the world's largest navy. And its battle force is expected to grow to 435 ships by 2030. China is also building up its nuclear arsenal. And it aims to have more than 1,000 operational nuclear warheads also by 2030. Those who stand against freedom and democracy are digging in, preparing for long-term confrontation, and trying to dominate and divide us.
All right, so very worrisome statement coming out from NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte here. And you can see in the very beginning, he was mentioning that NATO is only producing 1/4 of the amount of ammunition that Russia's producing. Russia's producing 4 times that. So that's not good news. NATO definitely has to catch up here. And, on top of that, if this war comes to an end with Ukraine and Russia continues, producing weapons and they don't lower the amount of spending in their country, could they be prepared to attack NATO in the future? I think it definitely could be possible, and NATO's been warning about this for well over a year now. I've been showing you guys all kinds of clips like this coming out all over the internet. And then on top of that, there's the threat of China as well. So, NATO understands that there's a major threat with Russia. China's also massively increasing their military as well. They're constantly producing new fighter jets that are being unveiled all the time. So, this could definitely be a major war in the future, and NATO is just starting to wake up. Hopefully they're not too far behind, but it seems like they are, at least in terms of Russia right now. Russia's just massively producing so many weapons because they're at war with Ukraine. And the big question here is, if this war comes to an end with Ukraine, is Russia going to attack them next, or maybe even before this war does come to an end? Now, I know a lot of people think that Russia will never attack NATO, but who knows what's really going to happen. You guys can let me know what you think down below in the comment section, though. But that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.